Hello, I'm Robert Villafranca with RC Audio Sports. Today, we're introducing a new feature on RC Audio Sports. We're going to call it Coach on a Mobile, where we visit with coaches making headlines in District 28-5A. We're joined today by Coach Nick Ramirez of McCollum Softball, who has just led the Cowboys to the 5A Division II Regional Finals after defeating McAllen High School in a best-of-3 series this past weekend in the regional semifinals. Welcome, Nick. How are you doing?
Doing good. Thank you, Coach.
Coach, we're in a tight window between celebrating that last series, getting ready for the next series, which is going to be Liberty Hill. We'll talk about that in a minute. But while you're in this window between celebrating and preparing, what are some of your thoughts about this last series and the season in general?
Well, we've definitely had some ups and downs through the season, but I felt like we ended on a good note going into the playoffs, and of course, just it doesn't matter who you play in the playoffs. The playoffs is the playoffs. Anything can happen. Obviously, we started out strong with that victory over Lanier, and then going into the next series with Vets Memorial. That preparing for that series. We really didn't know what to expect. We knew they were solid. They had a lot of team speed. They had a solid pitcher, a couple of pitchers actually. But we really didn't know what to expect. And the kids came out on all cylinders firing, and we got through that series, and then of course preparing for McAllen. That was a team that I know they were fourth in their district, but they kind of built momentum going into the playoffs as well, and they played a team with 28 wins in their season, opened up with them and surprised everybody by winning that series. And of course, they were a lot bigger than us. I knew their pitching was going to be strong going into that series. We didn't know what to expect. I liked our chances, but you never know. This is the playoffs, and you're always going to get everybody's best. And that game one, we got their best, and of course, I think our kids were a little shell shocked, I guess, so to speak. We didn't play the way we were capable of playing, and we made like 3 errors that game, and it just kind of snowballed from there. But the kids bounced back. They took some pride. They felt like it wasn't us. We had a lot to prove that second game, and by no means was it easy. I mean, it was just going back and forth. It was like the battle of the worlds. Who was going to come out, firing at the end, and we prevailed. That game two, and game three. This anybody. It's anybody's game, and you're gonna have to. I told our girls going in, we were gonna have to hit the ball, we were gonna have to pitch well, and we were gonna have to play defense, and it had to be all those three. The team that was gonna win was gonna have to do all of those things. And well, we got there for pregame warm up, and it was hot, it was humid, and that's like, oh my god, I didn't consider, I didn't play this into as a factor, the weather.
Hmm.
So as we warmed up and I started looking on their side, there, you can see it in their kids as well. I've gathered the kids and I said, what are the three things we got to do? And they named it. They named all three of them. And I said, well, there's a fourth factor. It's going to be who can withstand this weather. I said, yes, it's uncomfortable. And I understand that, but they got to play in it too. Who's going to win who's going to win that factor? And they did. Once I told them that, the whole demeanor changed. It's like, they were, and I know it was still bothering them, but they didn't, you couldn't tell. And that's what I was trying to get across to them. Just, be mentally tough, get through this, and everything that will fall into place. And they did. Coming out 7 runs in the first inning, it was like, wow, with 2 outs.
Right.
And so that helped. That was a shot in the arm for us. And then it helped Maddie, asking a pitcher to pitch 3 days straight. Man, I was like, and not once did she complain, not once did she say that she was tired. I'm so proud of that kid, the grit that she has, and of course, giving her a lead like that helped a lot, so, and then the rest is history. We're excited, but, we're not done yet. We've got an opponent that we're fixing to play, and that's very good. And but I feel like we're good too. So we're gonna go out there. We're gonna give our best effort. That's for sure.
Liberty Hill comes out of a tough district. I want to talk about them in just a minute, but going back as you were recalling the playoff season for the McCollum Cowboys, you scored 13 runs against Lanier, 23 in your first game against Veterans Memorial. That was suspended. You had to come back and play, and then another 16 runs in that in the series sweeper against Vets Memorial. It's 52 runs in 3 games. So your bats were really hot. And then you come up against McAllen in that first game, and they hold you to 2 runs, Nick. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking back of that. I'm thinking back to your district season. Holding McCollum to 2 runs. That's got to put a little shockwave in the team. But you came out of it. Of course, come back and win the next 2 games to win the series. What you talk about mental toughness? What were you all talking about after that the first loss to the McAllen Bulldogs? They're 2-7. It was just didn't seem
Right.
very characteristic of the Cowboys to be held to 2 runs.
Yeah. This game is different from others. You can come out and and have one of those games where things goes right for the other team, and it doesn't matter what you do. That team is just on a roll. They get on a roll, and I'm not gonna say luckily we faced that before because we never want to face that. We had a similar thing happen to us when we earlier in the year in district play, when we played Southwest, and they run ruled us that game. I think it was like 14-4, but at that night it was like everything they did went their way, and there was nothing we could do. And I just told the girls that's just part of this game. And luckily we were in the series, and I said, look, it's a different day. Sun came out the next day. We're gonna move forward. You're not gonna dwell on that one game. You still got a shot to go out there. You're very capable of turning this around, but we got to take one pitch at a time, one inning at a time, and move forward. So that's all I told them, and I told them and that was one of the things that I try to get them in the right mindset and getting them to believe that they can do this. And I told them we're gonna win, and that was the last thing, that message I sent to them before we start. That I also told them that their backs were against the wall, and you need to play like that's it. You seniors, this could be it. You play like this is it, and that lit a fire under them. I felt like, and
Oh,
the
they
rest is
did.
history.
They responded with 16
Yeah,
runs in the second game, and then 18 runs and 18-3 run roll victory in the regional semifinals. It's boy, that's something that these kids will always remember. It's making McCullum history there. But a couple of things that they in that third game, 18-3. You talk about grit. I think I counted, Nick, 12 runs. 12 of those 18 runs that McCollum scored were scored after 2 outs had been made in an inning. And boy, if that doesn't point to grit, tell me about how you feel. What are your thoughts on how aggressive they were, and even with 2 outs? I mean, playing as hard as they did, scoring 12 runs like that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think there was a combination of things. I feel like obviously they feel like they can compete with anybody, and the energy in our dugout since the playoffs have started has just risen, right? The kids are out there, they got rally caps, they're excited. And then the crowd that came down to support us, I felt like the kids were feeding off of that as well. So, yes, there's a lot of things that play a part in that, right? And of course, at the end of the day, it's all about the kids coming through, and they did.
He certainly did. And, Nick, we talk about kids coming through. I was at the McCullum game for the softball senior night. And I mean, you've got a group of seniors there that it's just a special group. I mean, you and I have had a couple of conversations, and you have told me how special this group is to you. But, Leanne Gutierrez, who will, your go-to runner, courtesy runner, she gets out of the field also and does well. Soraya Torres, your shortstop. Maddie Ruiz, of course, in the circle. Caitlin Hines, the other part of the battery, they're behind the plate. And Caitlin Alvarez, about as trustworthy as she can be over there at second base. And I'm thinking of missing one of the first basemen, Lorena Gonzalez.
Yes.
Well, she had some nice plays yesterday. I got to watch it on the live stream yesterday, and boy, she scooped
Mhm.
a few of them. But your seniors, of course, their leadership. What how do they contribute to the success? Some of this question. I mean, I hate to ask an obvious question, but I mean, it's a special group, right?
Yes, it definitely is. I got here, but they were sophomores, and everybody told me that you have a good little sophomore group, but you have some really good seniors, and we did. We had some good seniors that year, and but this sophomore group, they, as they've gone through the years, and now they're seniors, they've done everything that I've asked them to do. They're very easy to coach. Um, they love being around each other, and I feel like some of the young kids, they how can you not follow them? You know what I mean? I mean, they're such good kids. They root for each other. They root for the young ones. They're hard. I just they've been. It's been a blessing. That's all I can say, and I've really enjoyed this ride with them. Um, but when it comes to game time, they're ready to play, and you're going to get the best out of them. Um, and I can't speak enough about this group. They mean a lot to me.
It's a
And
special group. I mean, they're
yes,
solid softball players. Nick, I wanted to,
yes,
the six, the obvious core of the McCollum softball success this year. But I wanted to shout out a couple of kids that are not seniors that have really come around here towards the end of the season. Lauren Martinez, your center fielder, of course, she was out with the little pinky boo boo for a while
yeah.
there, and she came in towards the end of the season, I guess, against Wynn. And boy, just making up for lost time there. I think she two triples in this last series. I calculated a 600 batting average in this last series. What has it meant to you and to the team to get her back on the field and get her back in the batter's box?
Oh, it was huge. When I remember when it happened, and I just told her, you're gonna have a different role this year. You have to be in that dugout, cheer your teammates on, and I know that's easy for me to say, and you've got to do that. Um, and she did. She embraced that role, and she was there for everybody and doing her part. And getting close to the end of the year, so I told her, okay, we're still got time, Lauren. I'm trying to give her, because she was devastated when they gave her that news. She was upset. She wanted to play, her junior year for this group of seniors. That's what she wanted to play for that group. And I just look at it the positive way. I said, we're going to get you for playoffs. That's good. Okay. Well, the time came and she got good news, and we were lucky enough to get her for the CC win game. Well, I'll tell you what, if we don't have her, we don't win that game.
So
She came through with the,
Wynn has been an obstacle, haven't
yes,
they?
it
But
has. Yes, it has. It's
she
never
came
been easy.
and Lauren came back for that. You say, tell me more about that. Her contribution.
She hit a game winning RBI that game, and if it wasn't for that, we lose that game. And so, she's just, Lawrence. She was, I remember her freshman year, she was a newcomer of the year, and then sophomore year, first team all district. And of course she was expecting bigger things this year, and unfortunately the injury happened. But since she's been back, it's been a shot in the arm for us. Um, we were able to move our defense and our outfield the way we anticipated, from day one of this year. And and Ellie was initially going to be a right field, and Brianna Garza was going to end up being left field. And of course, the injury shifted everything around, right? But once we got her back, we got everybody where they needed to be. So that's helped us defensively.
That's right. Well, you got her back defensively. You got her back in the batter's box, and I was there
Hmm.
also for that Southwest game. And she, the season finale, she had a great game there. Looks like she's having just a great playoff run.
Yes.
So glad to see her back in the lineup. And you bring somebody up too. The other person that I wanted to bring up that seems to have really come around. Your freshman right fielder now. Eliana Ortiz, a grand slam there towards the end of the season. She hit another grand slam in the playoffs, and then she hit a home run in this last series. And just a freshman. And I'm sure I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know, but I think it was a Southwest game where she had several hits that were trouble. And you got a right
Yeah,
fielder out there making some great defensive plays. And I mean, what a luxury it is to have. A lot of times your right fielder is, maybe a defensive question mark. They can swing a bat, whatever. But I mean, what a luxury it is to have a right fielder that can make plays like that. And she's a freshman. Tell us about Eliana.
it is. It is a blessing to have someone like that, and not to you know mention her bat. I think that's her greatest asset is her stick. I think it doesn't matter whether she hits the ball in the air or on the ground. She hits it hard enough on the ground and usually gets through because it's coming so fast. And she has unbelievable strength. I don't even think she realizes it, and she just plays. You know, she's there. She's playing for the seniors, and she doesn't show that she's ever stressed. She's just always smiling. Kid's always smiling. You see her braces, and she's always happy, and it's fun to watch. She doesn't know any better. And she just wants to contribute to this team, and she has in a lot of ways. Whether it's defense or whether it's her bat, she hit that grand slam in the first round, and she hit a big home run on game two, right, to kind of get us going and to take the lead in that sixth inning. She's the what started the rally in that sixth inning of the game two. So we're lucky to have her, and she's definitely a kid on the rise for sure.
Well, it's always great to have those freshmen because freshmen seem to be a little more happy-go-lucky than the upperclassmen, right? So
Yes,
it's great to have
yes,
that. It's great for the chemistry.
yes.
But she's fun to watch play for sure. And and next, so that takes us. We're getting out of the celebration window. I know you're already looking forward. Liberty Hill is the opponent for the regional finals. This game is the regional finals, fourth round, and the winner of this game wins the region. It's Liberty Hill. Anybody that plays in this region knows that Liberty Hill is going to be solid, not just in softball, pretty much in all of the sports. First of all, do you have the logistics worked out? Do you know when the games are being played and where they're being played?
Yeah,
Have you all settled that?
yes,
Could you
we
share
did.
that
We
with us?
settled it. Yes, we're gonna play a one-game series, which will be Thursday, um, May 14th at 6:30 at San Marcos High School.
Wow. That's a
Yes,
night
and
where you played there before.
we have, yes,
Yeah.
and we're the home team, and they'll be the visiting team.
Okay. Well, very good. So this is Thursday, 6:30, one game series, San Marcos High School, McCollum versus Liberty Hill. All right. Well,
Yes,
we look forward to following you in this next round. This is a historic season for McCullum, and we love when great things happen to great people, and we congratulate you on the success this year. Wish you all the best this Thursday night, Nick.
thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Well, this is Robert Villafranca. We appreciate you, Nick, taking the time to visit with us on this first ever Coach on a Mobile pod, and we're going to put that up here in a minute. And again, Nick, best of luck. Congratulations, first of all, on the great season. Best of luck going forward.
Thank you, Coach.